Welcome everyone to episode 2 of Behind the Machine. And this week, I'm super excited. We're talking about another part just of service-wise that we offer, but ultimately, I always want to provide you value. And this time, we're talking to the nonprofit professionals, all of you out there, or the fundraising professionals that raise money for different causes, for different reasons. And we've been doing this for so long. We've just learned so much about how to raise the most money possible. And for that, I've brought on someone who's been an event expert, a professional who is on our team. She's our VP of operations and head of everything event at VeeKast, Marisa Dostilio. What's up, Marisa?
Hi. So glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So we can dive right in. And I know I just want to have this valuable conversation and provide just valuable information that the audience can act on immediately. But let's talk about just the event, whether it be galas or whatever kind of fundraising event it is. What I guess my first question would be what is the when is the best time you think we could talk about to maybe ask for money? When is the best time to do what we call the big ask in a fundraising event? Because I know different people sort of do it different ways, and sometimes our clients come to us and ask different questions. But let's answer this for the mass audience, if you will,
Yeah.
and all.
Well, there's timing wise, and then there's also like what should it come before or after, like during your program. So
Mhm.
I'll answer the first part in my head is timing wise, you really want to like get them giving up front at the top of your event. However that is, whether that's in your cocktail hour with a QR code or what we have here at VeeKast, we do the Fundometer, or you have like a text to donate platform. You want that available everywhere and sort of like in abundance. Whether you can do that before your event too, fundraising before in an email blast or something to sort of get everyone excited because the whole point of your event is to fundraise, right? That's why you're putting all this money into whatever performers you have coming or honorees. It's to bring the money back into the organization.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it should be fundraising from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they leave. That's that main part. But if we're talking about maybe where should it come in like your main program of your dinner service or when you're like having everyone pay attention to what's happening on stage and who you're honoring, it should happen after a really emotional moment where you've explained what your organization does, or maybe a client has come up and told a really amazing story about how your organization has helped them. And then right after that, you sort of be like, and this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. This is where we're fundraising. This is when you
Oh
can
yeah.
really pour it in and have them give, you know?
And it's funny, 'cause I remember we before you were here at VCAS, we had worked with you for years before this, where we were doing all these events, and I know you were with an event planning company with Rose and the team, and it's just it was I just remember we knew our formula, we knew the things that were going to work, right?
Yeah.
So I know that there's the aspect of doing it at the beginning of the event, but can you tell us some of the reasons why it needs to be at the beginning, right? Because sometimes, and I even for me myself, and I tell clients that it needs to be at the beginning, their eyes is like, why though? We want to end the night on a bang, but why does it need to be closer to the beginning of the event?
Yeah, depending on the timing of your event, like usually these are on a weeknight and people want to go home, to be perfectly honest. They worked all day and they're coming to your event to support, and putting the donation portion of your event at the end can really be a drawback because people might leave early. People might only be there for the honoree. And if you honor the honoree before you ask for the funds, you might be like losing out on funds in that room, which is
Especially
such a
those deep
bummer
pockets
for
individuals.
organizations.
Right. And especially those deep pocket individuals too, right? Those people that are
Yeah.
there like supporting, and
Well,
then
a
they're
lot
like,
of these
okay,
organizations have asked those people to be honorees because they have a strong connection to the organization and they're bringing people that they think will become new donors, which is the whole purpose of that. And I think that's amazing. But if you don't sort of tap into that as soon as they walk into the room in some way, whether that's through what I was saying, text to donate, but also maybe a fun thing where people are walking around with raffle tickets or something, other ways to fundraise,
oh yeah.
to get them sort of jived about donating.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I always talk about, I know some of the things that I talk about is just just that keeping that momentum. And I know you mentioned earlier, because I think that storytelling, I always like to say when people are on the edge of tears is the best time to ask for money, right? And usually, if we're trying to engage people to give, and you want to ensure that they're there, like you mentioned, it's important that we're asking them and they're there. If you do that after people are gone, you've already lost the opportunity. If you do that after the honoree has already been honored, some people are just waiting. Some people are sitting in their seat just waiting for the person they came to support to be honored. Then they're gone. And you and I think we've both seen it.
Mhm.
So when someone gets honored and you see a couple people just kind of sneak out the door.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely something that happens at these events. Is like those honorees have in a lovely way coerced people to come and support them and come to this event and bought a table. And you really need to take advantage as a nonprofit organization, just you know engaging them in any way that's possible with what you do, right? Why are we here? What do you do? And how can every dollar help them? I think also, as far as fundraising goes, it's the right people asking for the funds. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about the video, in the video, those client stories or the organization stories of who they're helping, that's really important. And also afterwards, having the right personality sort of talking about it or asking people to donate money is important as well. Someone connected to the organization is really great, as long as you can sort of have a conversation with them on public speaking and making sure that they're comfortable, because you definitely don't want someone going up there deer in headlights, not knowing what to do either. That's like
And we've seen that
another
too.
point. Yeah. You're just like, you want them to feel warm and loving about the organization and have a really deep connection. And that's really what's going to help elevate that fundraising even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point, adding to it is really authenticity,
Mhm.
right? You have some people that are on the board, they're involved in a lot of the decision making around what happens, but they're really not down on the ground. And so if you're having them do some of the communication, it can really fall flat because they're big on the supporting the cause, but they may not necessarily be as informed about all the details of the cause, and therefore use even if they're a big supporter in one way, they don't know enough about how to connect with the emotion of people. And for fundraising, the emotional touch is super, super important.
Yeah.
Super important.
I also think that like something that I've seen come out of like the fundraising space with these organizations the last few years is sort of defining what certain amounts of money could do for an
Oh yeah.
organization, which I think is huge, because a lot of times you're asking for funds, but you're just like, give any amount, which is a great way to get everyone to participate. I love that. But also sort of defining in a way like, oh, if you donate $1,000, it can potentially do X, Y, and Z, and talking about that. Those are really good talking points for people that maybe don't, like, you're talking board members or things like that that might not see it all the day to day or something like that, and they want to be involved, but giving those talking points can really help move things along and help people feel more inclined to give even more than they would normally give, because they're like, oh, I know that like $500 is going to support 10 children or something along those lines, whereas only 250 is only going to support 2 or 3 kids. They might be more inclined to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that too. Um, Before I continue, we'll just cut this part out. I think
Yeah.
the bottom of your mic is hitting something, so I hear
Oh,
it
is it?
sometimes. It sounds like it's
Might
it
be the
sounds like it's
cord. Hold on.
like when you shake the table, it's
Sorry.
a little bit.
Okay.
It's
Is
not
this
there
better?
often, but yeah, it
Okay.
was just a few couple times. All right,
Sorry.
so touching on that point, talking about all these different things that we need to do, let's kind of talk about timing wise.
Mm.
How much time should we think about dedicating to the fundraising to really maximize? I always say to clients, we want you to raise a boatload of money, and all the ways we can support you and help you and recommend you that you do that, we'll do that. But timing is always one of those questions. How much time should they delegate it, or how should they split it up if it's split up? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. I think that a good rule is like they're there the people are coming to to give and donate, they know that that's part of the evening. I think you should definitely carve out at least 10 full minutes that you're talking about what your organization does. I think you could do 15, but it really has to be entertaining. I think anything above that kind of feels like too much for people. And then if you factor in that you might be showing a video about the organization, so that could be in total, 20 minutes total, whether that's you're showing, a 5 to 7 minute video, going into the donation process, and then coming out of it. That could be a total of max 20 minutes of your program, with all of that as one. I sort of group those all together because there's one is the setup, right? The video or the client story is the setup for the donation. So all of that to me is like lumped as one cohesive thing that you're trying to have time for.
Awesome, awesome. I think that's a lot of great info. Any other valuable tidbits before we end?
I don't know. I feel like get your CEOs involved, get your presidents involved, have them talk about it, what it means to them. I think having some of these people that are higher up in your organization really talk about your organization is amazing. I think giving faces to people that work with the clients that you have every day can really bring so much more out to your organization than just showing pictures. So if you haven't done a video, I say do a video. If you haven't done a text to donate, change it up. Do a text to donate. Try something new, see what people say, and at least people will be talking about it. That's something to say.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Marisa, and thank you all of you for staying tuned, staying and watching this. This is episode 2 of Behind the Machine. I hope you enjoyed. Follow if you aren't following already. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed already, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.